coffee spills. Great. Hello, viewers. My name is Zach Hardy, and this is my review of the April 27, 2016 edition of USW Wednesday Night Intensity. I know, an intensity review, something I haven't done in a long time. But this is a very special intensity. It's the post-Call to Greatness 11 intensity, where the aftermath of Call to Greatness 11 is seen, and we build towards the next intensity pay-per-view, which will be in 6 weeks' time at USW Warzone. And I'm here to give you the rundown of intensity as it went on. So, starting with the opening segment, Cannon comes out with the USW Championship, and pretty much does his celebration, etc., winning the USW Championship, etc. So he talks about how he was able to overcome Mashigeta. He's going to be continuing to fight as your champion. He's going to continue being the face of your roster. And then Kyle Reese Jr. walks out and tells Cannon that since he's still the champion and there's no number one contender, there will be an 8-man tournament to decide the new number one contender to the USW Championship. And the tournament would start tonight. Let me read the tournament because I had the tournament right here. The matches for the first round were slated as Ash versus Majigeta, which is something that I touched on in the Call to Greatness the Call to Greatness review, how it was supposed to be rumored. Morbid versus Amor. Derek Carter versus Samuel North. So weird that the Extreme Champion's in there. And then Alexander Rotten versus Weiler. All in all, what's fitting up to be a pretty decent and believable tournament. I like how they're touching on the fact that since there's no legitimate number one contender, nobody's really earned the right to be the number one contender, they're going to have somebody legitimately earn the shot at the championship, legitimately earn the title of number one contender. And I like how they're using a tournament to have somebody or establish somebody as earning that shot. And I like how it's done even more strategically since there's no legitimate few people on the roster that aren't necessarily taken by a storyline and have a shot at or can be put in like a number one contenders match to see who gets a shot at the USW title. I like how since they don't have legitimately 2 or more guys that are just not doing anything at the moment and have a shot at the USW title, I like how they're just putting it into a tournament and making it more believable. I like how that storyline is being written up very strategically and very concretely. It's great. So we get into the first match of the night, which is Blue Belt champion Dwayne Porter against Wakeman. Wakeman coming off his Philip Akron versus Wakeman storyline. And Wakeman wins the match. This makes me believe that Wakeman winning the match is going to earn him the right shot at the Blue Belt Championship. I don't like how they've already started kind of writing towards the Blue Belt Championship match towards Warzone since we are 6 weeks away. But it's kind of interesting to see that Wakeman, being as he's not necessarily the biggest threat in the roster, has earned or will probably be earning a shot at the Blue Belt Championship. I feel like it should have been something to weigh it off of for a little bit, but it's USW, do what you will. So Wakeman wins the match. We're probably going to be seeing some things between Dwayne Porter and Wakeman over the next couple of weeks that will hint towards a Blue Belt Championship match. After that, we get an interview with the Extreme Champion Samuel North, who was just talking about his championship win over Morgan Anthony at last Sunday. And then that's about it. Second match is the first round of the USW Championship number one contenders tournament. Morbid beats Amor. Morbid then gets a microphone, cuts a promo on how, however, Derek Carter may have beat him last Sunday. He has no plans on walking away. He has no plans on being just another part-time face. I like how they're hinting at that and kind of, accepting that as fact. They're kind of talking about that. They're bringing it up in a good manner. And he has plans on proving that by winning the USW championship, he is a legitimate threat. He still is a legitimate threat, and he will be as long as he's there. I like how they're touching on the fact that he has been a part-time performer, and he's been brought back as a regular, a regular performer. I just enjoy that a lot. I think it gives great character to him, and it makes me think that he's going to win the tournament. As I said in the Call Greatness review, there was plans on having him win the USW championship, take a run, actually win the USW championship for the first time. And I like how they're building up to that. And this win and this promo makes it seem more realistic as time goes on. Anyway, after that, Carson Andrews and Andrew Palmer are approached by the USW Tag Team Champions Ezra Hills and Benny Franklin, who decide that they want to have a match tonight on Intensity. And they wanted to choose two opponents that could really give them a run for their money. So Andrews and Palmer accept the challenge, and the match is made for later in the night. Then we get into our third match, which is Andrew Morris against Xavier King. Andrew Morris actually wins the match, and Xavier King walks away from the ring with an angry look on his face, kind of hinting at, all right, I'm pissed off. I'm legitimately pissed off. I want my title back. I want to stop being run over by these guys on the roster. Give me a shot. Give me an opportunity. And it looks like they're building up to Andrew Morris versus Xavier King, which is interesting. It's kind of a good way of establishing homegrown talent in Andrew Morris. And I like what they're doing with Xavier King. He lost the Blue Belt title, lost his rematch, so now he's really stuck in limbo. And this is kind of a good way to keep him in that mid-card position. I like what they're doing. Then we get to our fourth match, which is Philip Akron versus Weiler. And Philip Akron actually beats Weiler. And then Alexander Rotten walks out and saves Philip Akron from an attack at the hands of Weiler. This is where it gets interesting. And then Philip Akron and Alexander Rotten, they're just left looking at each other as the show then goes to their commercial. But this is kind of hinting at a partnership or an ally, force or whatever between Philip Akron and Alexander Rotten, which would be big trouble or it would be a big problem for the Intensity roster, since these are two massive guys, very strong, very competitive, very gifted. The Intensity roster will be given a run for its money. So, for their sake, they're hoping it's not. Then we get a promo where Washington walks into Kyle Reese's office and wants to talk about his match with Ash and how he just wants a rematch with him. Junior then tells Washington that in order to get a rematch against Ash, he needs to convince Ash to accept his challenge, which kind of gives a good storyline over the next couple of weeks, or what could be the next couple of weeks, of Washington trying to get Ash to accept a challenge, kind of build up a feud between the two, kind of make the match something hyped up for, something anticipated, something to look forward to. I enjoy that. The fifth match goes on. Carson Andrews and Andrew Palmer versus Ezra Hills and Benny Franklin. Andrews and Palmer win the match. Then Hills and Franklin attack Andrews and Palmer and place them through tables. That's after the match. Hills and Franklin are officially heels now. That's all said and done. We have a dominant heel tag team on the Intensity roster, and that's in the hands of Ezra Hills and Benny Franklin. And then they hold up the tag team titles over Andrew Palmer and Carson Andrews, and then the show goes to commercial. I like how they're setting up a new tag team with Andrew Palmer and Carson Andrews, and possibly with Phil Akron and Alexander Rotten. But it's too obvious that Ezra Hills and Benny Franklin are going to win this feud. They're going to keep the tag team titles. It makes me a little bit over their upcoming match. That's just, it's pretty much guaranteed at this point. But at least it's got hype behind it. At least it's got some reason for happening. There's a plot for it. And I can accept it now. Sixth match, main event of the night, first round of the USW Championship #1 Contenders Tournament. Surprised to be saying this. Samuel North beats Derek Carter. Holy shit. The Derek Carter, who beat Morbid at his own event at Call to Greatness 11, loses to the Extreme Champion, is out of the USW Championship picture. Holy shit, what just happened? Like, what? The Extreme Champion is now a legitimate threat towards the USW Champion. I think this is USW's way of making up to the 3 to 4 minute match that they had at Call to Greatness for the Extreme Championship. But this is interesting. And of course, Derek Carter tries to chase Samuel North up the ramp after the show, but fails. And Samuel North celebrates winning and moving on to the second round of the tournament to end the show. This is weird. I like how they're hinting towards Samuel North versus Derek Carter, possibly for the Extreme Championship. More of this, like, it kind of reminds me of Maven versus The Undertaker, where it's like, all right, this is a legitimate underdog. I shouldn't expect him to win. He's probably going to get killed. But I'm going to love watching it. That's kind of what it reminds me of. It kind of reminds me of that. And to see it end the show means they have plans for Samuel North. They have plans for Derek Carter. They have plans for a feud. It's going to mold. It's going to mesh. I'm looking forward to it. I think this is going to be good. I think this is going to lead up to something great. All in all, the post-Call Greatness 11 show, post-Call Greatness 11 intensity was really good. I enjoyed it thoroughly, and it brought forth a lot of things to come for the future. And with that, I conclude my review with my rating of intensity being a regular 3 out of 5 stars. Did well, hype up for something. Would have been a 4-star had it not hyped up so much so early in the build-up to Warzone, but I'm giving it 3 stars. Great couple of matches, great booking, great storylines, great promos, great all in all. And with that being said, that was my review on the April 27th, 2016 edition of Wednesday Night Intensity. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you have any questions for the Hardy App questions and answer series, send them to unitards@gmail.com, Twitter, which is @ZacharySarah, or post them in the YouTube comments below. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Remember to like, favorite, and subscribe for more. I'm Zach Hardy, signing off.